Day 12 in the YOSOY year, in the emotional aspect of the third eye in the constellation of Leo. The Expectations, 15th of August 2020. I am. I can tell you're a little cranky today. Me. Yes, I haven't woken up in the best of moods, really. But the strange thing is that there's no reason why I should feel the way that I do. I am. A lot of things are moving and it's normal. Me. Yes, I think because of everything we're doing, there's a kind of purging of the physical, emotional, and mental bodies, and this emotion comes up. I am. Can you identify her? Me. Well, it's like that feeling of reluctance, that everything annoys, as if the only thing I wanted was to have slept all day. I went to the pyramid, and even inside it was the first day that I wanted to get out and go. A feeling of, bah, I've wasted my time and I'm bored. I am. What makes you feel the loss of time? Me. Well, I think it's the fact that each day looks like the next. It's a feeling that I go in circles and nothing new happens. I am. You are used to your life changing dramatically hour after hour. Me. Yes, my daily goals are not one, there are usually several. I am. And that keeps your mind and emotion entertained. Me. Yes, the feeling is that things are always happening and that there is always something to tell. I am. Well, you live in the rhythm of a series, with adventures and magic around every corner. Me. Yes, all those who have traveled with me, friends and family and others, feel that times are relativized, that the time is relativized, and that very crazy and inexplicable things happen. I am. Because you launch yourself into an adventure without limitations. You have no limits of imagination, territory, time, and that breaks the structures. And by being able to manage all that energy, magical things happen, which in reality is not magic. It is simply having gotten out of the routine and seeing the truth of what happens when moving through the world, through reality. Me. That's what happens. Everyone who knows me knows that I live like in a constant movie, where there are always things to do and live, and I think that despite how well I've taken to the monotony since the quarantine began on March 15th, arriving in Egypt and starting this daily structure, many things have started to move. But me. I am. Because it was your task to be the axis, remember? Me. Yes. And it is counterproductive for someone who lives traveling and changing every hour to ask him to be fixed in one place, going to the same place every day as if he were a monk in a closed temple. I am. What did you expect from this? Me. I don't know. Nothing really. I am. Honestly. Tell me. Me. I expected two things. One, that it would be a trip through the 32 nodes of the earth, so I would have to run and adapt to something new every day. And on the other hand, I thought that this would be something much bigger, with more movement, with more diffusion, and in the end, it's being something very homey, very much among friends, in the same place, doing exactly the same thing every day. I am. Well, and what emotions do you feel because of this? Me. Well, a little of everything. Although lately I haven't felt literally anything. Empty. But today I began to realize that I feel a bit of a strange disgust at my situation. Like it's not what I expect of myself. It's not frustration, because I feel that everything's going very well. but rather it's more like the sensation of when you're going to bite into an apparently delicious and juicy apple, and when you sink your teeth in it, it's sandy and without flavor or juice, dry. That feeling, I don't know its name. I am disappointment, right? Me, I think so, that. When things, despite being good and useful, do not go as planned, and you're left with a strange feeling of disappointment, a restlessness, discomfort, like being in paradise, but alone. I am. This is due to the expectation you put on things. Expectare, from the Latin, to expect something from outside. This is common to all humans who project a destination or objective on the horizon, but before reaching it, the idea of it arrives. Since we all move in one direction with the hope of finding what we imagine. It is like one who wanders through the desert following mirages, seeing water in a sea of sand. And still he advances, trying to finally find that oasis, although he hardly does. The mirages are real. It is the heat evaporating the environment, generating a distortion in the light that gives the sensation of waves, of liquid platinum. But it is our mind that drew the water, the palm trees, the animals, and the grass. The mind is so fast that it even reaches the destination before we can even figure out in which direction it is in. And what we see in our mind always tends to exceed what we subsequently experience in reality. Thus, I will never be able to enjoy what I find, what I am, and where I am, because I am always waiting for something from outside, something that I cannot be, because it is only a projection. Me. You say then that my mind puts too much effort into experiencing magic in something that doesn't have that magic? Is that right? I am. When you wait a year to go to the pyramid and activate it with friends, entering it becomes an act of discovery, innovation, summit, culmination, and realization of a journey of your path. A mission is fulfilled. A conflict is resolved. There is an outcome. The body tenses too much, and in an instant it relaxes too much. A certain sensation of ecstasy floods the body due to the adrenaline and endorphins and dopamine secreted in the effort to make everything perfect. So in ecstasy you live the magic. The paths come together, the networks combine. Suddenly you understand things, you connect information with others, and in the face of the unknown, the wonder of discovering oneself, of understanding, of seeing the signs arise, and joy gives meaning to the act. Me. But I am. But when entering the pyramid becomes routine, greeting the same vendor every day, the same guards, seeing that they already know you, going through the same path, going up the same stairs, suddenly the king's chamber loses magic and becomes a cavern of carved rock. Or worse yet, your work office. And the excitement of going to work every day is commonly known, especially for someone with the moon in Sagittarius. Me. Yes. It slowly destroys my emotional body. I am. And this is because the expectations you set can go two ways. Either create a pre-established idea of what should happen, or on the other hand, create the idea that something should happen even if you don't know what, something that surprises. Me. I'm more of that second option. Before I did the project, the idyllic of how it should be. However, for a year now, I have been more of the second type. I flow, I let myself go, and I prefer to surprise myself without preconceived ideas. I am. And yet, you fall into the despair and desolation of nonsense. You start believing that it's not worth it, that this is not changing anything or anyone. What is the logic of going to the pyramid every day to sing if nobody sees it, if the pyramid will not fly into the air? And, however, behind there is something that you are not seeing, and it is that behind this restlessness there is the constancy, the doctrine, the routine, the pulse. The heart is the transmitter of all possible emotions, and yet its pulse is the same, constantly. Its routine makes magic possible. Sometimes it is necessary to understand that great things are achieved with small steps, that the greatest magic lies in the simplest acts, that a mechanical and doctrinal act in unconsciousness becomes a trap, but the same from consciousness becomes a pulse, a heartbeat, that the longer you press on, the further your rhythm will go. The noise of hundreds of stones falling on the surface of a lake generates a lot of misinformation, but a lot of disorder. Now, a simple drop falling on the pond marks a mantric rhythm that connects the entire lake in harmony. The mind that wants to see the lake move feels that the drop is weak, slow, desperate. Quiet your mind, inspire and observe your daily actions, and instead of turning them into routine, turn them into doctrine, and make doctrine a conscience, and the constant act will become constancy. A plant that as soon as it emerges from the seed expects to become a fruit spends all its energy and will die before even seeing it bloom. Me, patience. I am. No, it's not a matter of patience, because patience implies expectation. It implies doing what I do for the sake of hoping that one day something will happen that will change my state. What you need is here and now. To honor your traveled path and build a fruitful future, you need to practice the here and now. One day at a time, one step at a time, without expectations of what is to come. The future is built with the acts of the present. Stop looking at the horizon and contemplate the axis that you are. Become aware of the minimum acts that are repeated in your day-to-day and recognize them as the pulse of your heart. Now, do them knowing that each time you get up to go and enter the pyramid is the first bang of the heart. And when you leave, return and write, it is the next bang. And every doctrinal act. Me. The word doctrine is very strong, almost religious. I am. Because you have dirtied the concept. Doctrine arises from the words docere, tor, and ina, which respectively mean to teach, agent, and related to. That is, everything related to teaching, science, the search for wisdom. Wisdom is not found in the epiphanies of seconds, but in the constant practice of minimum and insignificant daily acts, which build at the cellular level an understanding of the universe that surrounds and composes me. If you become aware of these acts, you will become a sage, without the expectation of such an epiphany that will already live in you every day. Me, that is to say that all of us in our lives, if we make the repetitive acts of our daily lives conscious as the heartbeat of our being expanding in the world, we will be like that drop that can harmonize the entire lake. I am. The tick-tock of time, the thump-thump of space. Me. It's true, my big mistake is expecting more than I live from day to day. I am. Oh no. Remember, it was your mistakes that brought you here. Thanks to being wrong, you are finding the only thing you should have hoped to find, yourself. The rest will come by itself. Me. Go from expectation to action. I am. Close your two eyes, those that look at the external, and you will see that everything you imagine finding outside was a product of your interior and already lives in you. Don't expect to be tomorrow what you can be today. Me. Thanks for being. I am. Thank you for being.